In this video, we will talk about why INFJs can come across as so intimidating, even when they're not trying to be. It's kind of ironic, really, because most INFJs don't walk around trying to scare people. They're usually very empathetic, caring, and low-key, but there's just something about their energy that makes people pause. One big part of it is the way they observe everything. INFJs aren't the type to be loud or immediately expressive. Instead, they sit back and watch. They notice the little things, body language, shifts in tone, the meaning behind your words. And they don't always react right away. That kind of silent attentiveness can make people feel exposed. It's like being scanned without your permission. And it freaks some people out because it feels like they're being seen too clearly. Check out our INFJ Mastery course and INFJ ebook. The links are in the description of this video. Then there's the depth. INFJs aren't interested in surface-level stuff. They tend to skip small talk and dive straight into real, sometimes uncomfortable territory. People aren't always ready for that. Like, someone might make a throwaway comment about feeling tired, and the INFJ will gently nudge. Is it just tired or something deeper? That depth feels like emotional X-ray vision, and it can catch people off guard, especially those who aren't used to confronting their own stuff. The way INFJs carry themselves adds to it, too. There's a seriousness to them, even when they're relaxed. It's in the way they think before they speak, the intentional way they choose their words, or how they look at you like they're reading between every line you just said. There's this unspoken intensity in their presence that makes people act more carefully, even if they don't realize why. Another thing is that INFJs don't really give away much unless they want to. They can be warm and engaging, sure, but there's always this inner wall. You can feel it, the part of them you'll probably never get access to, no matter how close you think you are. That kind of emotional privacy makes people feel like they're dealing with someone who's operating on another level. It's not arrogance, it's just how INFJs are wired. But to the outside world, that guardedness feels powerful, maybe even threatening. And let's be real, INFJs often have incredibly sharp minds. They're not loud about it, but their insights can be razor sharp. They'll point out something no one else noticed, or connect dots others didn't even know existed. When they speak up, they tend to carry weight because they've been silently processing for a while. That makes their words hit differently, more like a precision strike than casual commentary. Also, they tend to have very strong internal convictions. If an INFJ has made a decision about something, good luck changing their mind. They're open-minded in a lot of ways, but when it comes to their values or something they know in their gut, they're immovable. That quiet certainty can feel like a wall you can't push through, and it's intimidating because it's not based on ego. It's based on deeply held personal truth. What makes it even more confusing for people is that INFJs are usually kind and compassionate. They'll listen, they'll support you, they'll even put your needs before their own. But just when you start to think they're soft, they'll surprise you with this fierce boundary, or cut you off completely if they feel disrespected. That switch from gentle to steel catches people completely off guard. You don't expect someone so empathetic to also be so ruthless about protecting their energy. Their mystery plays a role too. INFJs don't put all their cards on the table. You can know them for years and still feel like you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. That sense that there's always more going on behind the scenes creates a kind of magnetic tension. People are drawn in, but also a little unsettled, like they're never quite sure where they stand. People often project onto INFJs. Because they're quiet and introspective, people fill in the blanks with their own assumptions, sometimes painting them as aloof, cold, or unapproachable, when really they're just thinking deeply or recharging. That misreading adds to their intimidating aura, even if they're just minding their business. Another reason INFJs feel so intimidating is because they tend to cut through social masks like butter. Most people go through life wearing different versions of themselves depending on who they're around, putting on smiles, playing roles, avoiding discomfort. But INFJs, they see right through that. It's like they're always operating with some internal lie detector. They don't call people out rudely or directly, but they'll give you that quiet look that says, I know this isn't the full story. That kind of unspoken awareness can make people super self-conscious. It's not about judgment. It's just that INFJs have an instinct for authenticity. Also, they're not afraid of silence. Most people rush to fill awkward pauses or keep the conversation going just to avoid feeling uncomfortable. INFJs, though, They'll sit in that silence like it's sacred, and that stillness makes people feel vulnerable, especially if they're used to constantly performing or being on. That calm, steady energy almost dares people to slow down and reflect, something not everyone is ready for. Their emotional independence is another factor. INFJs may be nurturing and warm, but they don't need people the way some expect them to. They crave deep connection, yes, but they don't rely on constant attention or validation to feel whole. That kind of self-sufficiency is attractive but also intimidating, because it puts pressure on others to meet them at a higher emotional level. People who are used to more codependent dynamics can feel lost when the INFJ doesn't play that game. What adds to the aura is how INFJs often seem to have this uncanny sense of timing and intuition. Like they just know things. You're struggling with something you haven't told anyone, and they bring it up gently. You're making a decision, and they offer a piece of insight that lands harder than expected. It's not magic, but it sure feels like it. People are used to hiding parts of themselves, but INFJs have a way of lighting up those hidden corners. And when you realize someone can see you that clearly, it's both beautiful and unsettling. Then there's the way they handle conflict. INFJs avoid petty drama, but when a real conflict shows up, they don't back down. They won't explode or start shouting, but they'll confront the issue with calm, collected intensity. They'll say exactly what needs to be said, no fluff, and it cuts deep because it's usually right on the mark. They don't get loud, but they do get real, and people aren't always ready for that level of emotional precision. That's when you realize this soft-spoken person is not someone you want to mess with. Check out our INFJ Mastery Course and INFJ ebook. The links are in the description of this video. They also have incredibly high standards, not just for others, but for themselves too. They expect a certain level of integrity, thoughtfulness, and honesty from the people in their life. If you're not aligned with that, you're going to feel it. Not because they'll yell or criticize, but because they'll start to pull away. And when an INFJ starts withdrawing their energy from you, it's like the sun went behind a cloud. You feel the shift instantly. That silent withdrawal hits harder than words ever could, and it leaves people wondering what they did wrong. And let's not ignore how INFJs tend to do everything with purpose. Even the way they speak feels intentional. They're not the kind to ramble aimlessly just to be heard. When they talk, it's because they have something meaningful to say. That kind of intentional communication makes others feel like they need to be on their A game. It's like every interaction with them matters, and that level of presence can be overwhelming for someone who's used to more casual or surface-level interactions. People also pick up on how INFJs don't chase approval. They care deeply about people, yes, but they're not performing for anyone. They don't twist themselves into shapes to fit in. That kind of quiet self-possession, especially in a world where so many people crave external validation, can be deeply unsettling to witness. It's like being around someone who's plugged into something bigger than the current moment, and that reminds others of everything they're not fully grounded in yet. Also, there's just this inner fire INFJs carry. It's not flashy or loud, but it's there a deep, burning sense of mission, of purpose, of vision. Even if they don't know exactly what they're building, they feel the call. That kind of soulful determination radiates through their actions, and people can feel it. It's the kind of presence that says, I'm going somewhere important, and if you're not aligned, I won't be dragging you with me. That's not something most people hear out loud, but it's felt, and that quiet, unwavering drive is what makes INFJs unforgettable, and yes, intimidating as hell. One thing people don't often realize is how emotionally brave INFJs are. Like, they're not afraid to go into the deep, dark, uncomfortable emotional spaces that most people avoid. They'll sit with grief, process pain, confront hard truths, not just in themselves, but in others too. That kind of inner courage freaks people out because most of us are used to distracting ourselves, numbing out, or staying busy to avoid what's inside. Then here comes the INFJ, calm and composed, asking questions that pierce through all your emotional armor. And they do it so gently that you almost don't realize you're being disarmed. It's only later that it hits you. They just made you feel more seen than anyone else has, and that can be terrifying. There's also something about the contrast within them that's hard for people to reconcile. INFJs can be incredibly gentle, soft-voiced, nurturing, supportive, and yet Beneath that is this rock-solid sense of self and unshakable boundaries. People expect softness to mean pliability, but INFJs aren't easily influenced or manipulated. They're like velvet over steel, and that contrast throws people off. Most aren't used to someone who can be deeply empathetic while also refusing to tolerate nonsense. It's that exact balance, deep compassion with firm boundaries that people find so hard to read, and honestly, kind of intimidating. They don't broadcast their lives like everyone else. INFJs are usually pretty private. They might listen to everyone else talk, offer amazing insights, be super present with others. But when it comes to opening up about themselves, they hold back. It's not because they're hiding anything. It's because their inner world is sacred. They only share with people they trust on a soul level. And that selectiveness makes others feel like they're on the outside looking in. That guarded vibe makes people wonder what's behind the curtain. And because humans fear what they don't understand, that mystery alone creates a feeling of intimidation. They're also not the type to tolerate fake intimacy. INFJs have a radar for emotional inauthenticity. So if someone tries to bond with them through gossip, superficial flattery, or trying too hard, the INFJ will quietly withdraw. They don't fake connections just to be polite. If it's not real, they're out. And when someone is used to winning people over with charm or surface-level warmth, that kind of rejection, even a silent one, hits hard. It sends a message: you can't earn my energy unless you come correct. That level of discernment makes people nervous because it demands sincerity most aren't used to offering. Even how INFJs handle power is unique. They're not loud about it, but they know when they have it. Their influence is subtle, not forced. They don't control people, they just shift the emotional energy in a room without trying. Others feel it, even if they can't name it. It's not dominance in the traditional sense, but it's an energetic gravity that makes people take them seriously. INFJs rarely abuse this, but people can feel it. And when someone has power they don't flaunt, it tends to intimidate more than someone who throws it around. Another thing that adds to the intensity is that INFJs often seem like they're living by code that no one else has access to. They move with a sense of inner direction, like they're following something higher. Intuition, values, purpose, whatever it is. It's not about rules or external expectations. It's personal, sacred, and internal. That can make people uncomfortable, because it's hard to argue with someone whose compass isn't based on what the world says is right or popular. You can't manipulate someone who doesn't crave approval. That's powerful, and yes, intimidating. INFJs also know how to say no in the most graceful way possible. They don't need to argue, explain, or raise their voice. Their refusal is often calm and final. And the thing is, when an INFJ says no, it carries weight. It's not dramatic, it's just firm. That quiet certainty is more effective than any loud confrontation. It catches people off guard, especially those who are used to guilt-tripping or persuading others into compliance. With INFJs, that door shuts softly, but once it's closed, it rarely reopens. That finality can feel like a punch to the ego. When you add all of this together, the emotional depth, the insight, the quiet strength, the ability to see through people, the emotional independence, the strong boundaries, the mystery, the private nature, the refusal to play games, it makes sense why INFJs feel intimidating to so many. It's not that they're trying to be unapproachable. It's just that being around them forces you to show up more honestly, more deeply, more real. And let's face it, not everyone is ready for that. Check out our INFJ Mastery course and INFJ ebook. The links are in the description of this video.